Oh, hello, everybody. So, this is Auth Part 3, Part 2. So, I'm hoping by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to like kind of put it all together. So let's take a look at what we've done. And never done this way before. I think it might be helpful. We're going to do each of these steps, and we're going to do the client side of each of these steps also. So to start with, follow along with me, and then I'm going to cut you loose on the part one for a little bit. But start by follow along with me. Get your text editor open, get your command line open, get a folder ready, all that kind of shit. And before you start up your Rails app, just have an empty folder. We'll call this full stack auth January. Nothing up this sleeve, nothing up this sleeve. Once you have done such a thing, I would like you to make a directory for your front end. You should also put a index.html and an app.js in that front end folder. Then otherwise we'll leave those alone for right now. So your entire app looks like that right now. Then do a Rails new -- API backend. Cool. So that's what we're going to start with. Time for step one. Just work on the backend part of this. You should have done this a dozen times by this point. So I'm going to give you 4 minutes. Do the backend parts of creating a user. Go. Another 2 minutes. 30 seconds. All right, give me a fist to 5. Fist is I don't know what we're supposed to be doing. 5 is I've got a user with a hash password coming back. All right, Cass has got it. Augie's got it. All right, talk to me. What are we missing? Alex, what you need?
I'm not stuck. It's just, it took a while to create the controller and model.
Cool. I'm going to give you another 2 minutes. Go for it.
Just create the user, right?
You are correct.
Okay.
Cool. Fist to 5 again. Where are we at? All right. Jordan? Jordan's lagging a little bit. I think he was pretty high last time. All right. So now let's take a look at how we might use this on the front end. So I want you to go into your front end folder and open up that index.html. Start by stubbing out your HTML page. We're going to call this secret dogs. Character set. Bring in that script. We'll give it a title of Secret Dogs. And then we're going to make a user sign up form. This is going to have an input with type text, name, username. It's going to have a label on that. Also do a password. Password is one of the input types. That's what hides the thing as you're typing it. And we need an submit button. So we'll do an input with type submit. Something like that. All this probably belongs in a section tag. Maybe something like this. I'm going to give that a class of user sign up. Yeah, looks pretty good. All right, make sure your index.html looks like mine. I'll give you a sec to catch up.
Kyle, your password name value is username.
Oh, what? Good catch. That's why I like pair programming with a bunch of people. If you want to be complete about it, we could also put IDs on these inputs. And then 4s on the labels. That'll connect those. All right, give me a thumbs up if you're ready to go. Alan's ready to go. Augie's good. Cass is good. Alex, Jordan, how you guys doing?
I'm just putting in the IDs for the inputs.
Cool.
Zoom is fucking with my computer super hard right now, so I'm just a second behind, but I
right.
will be.
One more thing that you could do for this form. Yeah, let's do this too. The bottom of this form, we'll put a p tag. And let's give it a class of message. So we can use that to, after we make our user, maybe we put the user shit in there. Same stuff we're getting out of Postman right now. We just got a place to put it. And whoever was asking for like error handling, this is where that would go also. All right, so now when this form submits, we want to send it to our back end. So, open up the app.js file and let's grab the form. Like that. And then whenever the sign up form submits, we want to prevent the default behavior. And then we need to pull that form data out also. And then we're going to make a fetch request to our backend. So let's see. Guess I haven't actually built anything on my backend yet. But we'll say, all right, localhost 3000/users, making a post request. Got headers. Our body is going to be a JSONified username. That'll be in form data get username. And we'll do the same thing for password. Cool. So whenever that comes back, we're going to parse the response. And then we're going to pull out the username and password. So we could do something like username password digest. We can destructure those out of response.user. So if you didn't go to any of the ES 2015 things in mod 3, that is a shorthand for const username equals response.user.username. So that line and these two lines are the exact same thing. In case that syntax is fucky to you. Destructuring, that's called. And then we're going to use those two variables. We'll throw them in the message. So also grab the sign up message. Let's see. Like that. And then maybe we do something like sign up message dot text content equals your username is username and your password hash is password digest. Something like that. Oh, one more thing. Right after we fetch, we can do like a event.target.reset to clear the form. Otherwise, it keeps the like username and password that we entered. Like those don't go away just because we submitted the form. So we need to tell it that we want them to chill out. All right, and that's user sign up. Note, there's really nothing special about this. This is the same like creating a new resource shit that we did all through mod 3. Nothing unique about it. Maybe be a sec to get caught up on that too.
Where does the sign up message node come from?
Up here.
Oh, I didn't see that there. Okay.
What's happening on line 17 exactly?
Let me turn off the relative 9 numbers. You mean
Or
line 19?
19 now, yeah.
So that's the destructuring thing. So that, if I was to write it out longhand, would look like that. So that line and those 2 lines are the exact same thing.
Okay, thank you.
Oops. It's called destructuring. It's part of ES 2015.
Can you go back to your HTML real quick? I think I missed something while my computer was frozen because of Zoom stuff. Thanks.
Any other questions? Anybody need a second? Cool. So I didn't actually do anything for the back end, so let's fix that real quick. Speed round. So I'm going to go into my back end. I'm going to go into the gem file. Let's install bcrypt. Let's make a controller for users. Let's make a model for user. Let's go into the routes, make a, we can use resources. Actually, is it, anybody remember, is it plural or singular for this one?
I think
Plural?
Plural?
Yeah, plural.
All right, thank you. I'll hop into my,
That's the controller, right?
that was the resource. I was using the resources syntax here.
So you could do both, right? It's interchangeable.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. That and that. That's the same thing. Cool, so I make a create action.
Render.
That's fucking, good God. Too many languages, man. Is it render.json? What am I, God, can I just write this fucking language
No,
anymore?
it's not. No
And
dot
just space
notation.
JSON. Just a space.
Render
JSON.
JSON, that's right. All right, thank you, brain fart.
What language were you writing?
I was writing the query language. So the thing I was writing just there was JavaScript, but earlier today I was writing the Looker query language. So yeah, I've been all over the map today.
I've never heard of that one.
Neither have I. So the good news is, as I've told you many times, there's not loops and other loops and conditionals and other conditionals. All programming languages are kind of the same. So like very small differences between them, ultimately. Cool, and then I make a username and a password digest. And then that should be it. So it should be able to Rails DB migrate. And I should be able to fire up some servers. We go into my backend and Rails S. Let me go into my front end and light server. All right, let's see if it worked. Kyle. Oops. So I know that didn't work. Can anybody tell me why? There's something on the screen that lets me know exactly what just happened.
The prevent default stuff.
Yeah, why didn't that work? Or how do I know that that didn't work?
Your H reference changed. Your location in your window changed.
Exactly. I got all that stuff added, which is, in fact, the default behavior. So let's see if we can deduce what happened. So user sign up form, user sign up form, add an event listener for submit. It looks all right to me. Let me know if you see it.
Is it your source is app.js, not app.source?
Oh, come on, man.
I saw that earlier, but didn't want to say anything.
You can say something. No, true story, man. Like,
I didn't know it was an error.
oh, these are real mistakes, man. Real devs making real problems. All right, so let's try that again. All right, didn't refresh. Also didn't give me back what I wanted. Ah, cores. Ba, 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 ba. So who can tell me how to fix this?
Go to your cores in your configure, or however you Vim users do it.
Okay, so I'm in cores.
Uncome out those lines and change your origins to asterisk.
Sure. Like, just so you can't say that nobody ever told you this, you probably shouldn't make it an asterisk like on your production apps and stuff. For fucking around, like, who cares? Make it easy on yourself. You want this to actually be the domain that you're using. Cool. That wasn't the only thing that I have to do to get cores, though. Who can tell me the other step?
Undo your gem file and uncomment it.
Yeah. And then bundle install. And for this one, I'm almost positive you have to restart the server. All right. What say you now? Okay, so I did something that my server didn't like. Unknown attribute password for user. Oh, I didn't do the has secure password. Come on, Coberly, get your shit together. Starting lessons late, forgetting steps.
How many drinks did you have over break?
An awful lot of these. All right, so now we're back in business. That's like a complete step one, including the front end.
And so if you had your login page as like, it's an HTML page, and then you would like bring them to another page from the login page after they, okay. That's the part I'm having trouble putting together, like how all of that ties in.
Okay, so let's say I did this on a different page. Let's see what it would look like. So I'm gonna go over to my front end, and I'm gonna make a sign up page, like that's different than my index page. So I could use signup.html. Oops. And then I'll also make like a signup.js. So I'm going to open up all these files. All right, so all of this has to do with sign up. So I'm just going to yank all of it over to that. I'm going to copy everything from the index to the sign up page. I'll change that to signup.js. Keep that the same. And then I'll yank this out of this page and make a, so this should go to signup.html. Okay, so if we wanted to do this as different steps, or as on different pages, so you go to the page and you go to sign up. So that takes you over here. It's asking you to create an account. So the piece you're missing is the redirect. So we could do that with location.href. I think that's it. There's like 3 different ways to do this. I always get them mixed up. Vanilla JS redirect. There we go. Window.location.replace. And I send this back to index.html. Pro tip, so like they did window.location here and I did just regular location. Spoiler alert, window is in front of everything already. Window is what's called the global namespace. So it's presumed to be in front of everything. And now you know the rest of the story. The wild part about this though is that we're like going to see this for like a millisecond before it redirects. But if I did cas, and now we're redirected back to the page.
And then anything that goes on from there on out is only connected to that account?
No,
just automatically?
We didn't log in. All we did was make the account.
Okay.
We didn't also log in as that user.
But, okay.
Other questions about any of this?
So that location.replace just loads up the index page?
Yep. It just sends your browser to that address.
Cool.
Other questions?
Mine's not. It says, when I click sign up, it says cannot destructure property username of response.username as it is undefined.
Yeah, it means you don't have a username attribute on your response, and neither do I. I put it under user.
Under user? Oh, user. Okay.
If you did it the same way I did, then that's how you did it. That's from this.
Okay, gotcha.
Other questions?
Can I see your index.html again for a second? Okay, sign up dot. Oh, I put sign up.js instead of HTML.
So I also have a signup.js just so that not everything's using the exact same script.
This message location, is that where you would generally post errors to, or would you make a separate p tag for it?
You could. So you could make two separate ones and then style them differently. So like the error text is always red. So like we could do something like that if we put a catch on this. Then we could say something like sign up message dot text content equals error dot message. And now if I did something like kill my server, well, this like request is going to fail. Because now when I try to sign up, like that's sort of simulating the network going down, right? So what do I want it to do when that happens? Other questions? Cool. All right, so do step 2. These things. I'll give you a couple minutes to do that. Just the back end. Don't worry about the front end yet, just the back end. Go. No, 30 seconds. All right, show and tell time. Fist to 5. 5 is I got a token coming back. All right, very nice. So I'll do the token part of this. Lightning round. So head over to the back end. And let's see, I'm going to take a look at my routes. Let's start all over again. I want a post request to login to go to the authentication controllers login method. That means I need a controller for that. It is so. We're going to make that login action. And then we're going to try to look up a user. Like that. If we don't find it, then we can say no user by that name. Otherwise, it means we found the user. So then we should check their password. We can do with the magical authenticate method. That's one of the things we got with the bcrypt gem. And using the has secure password macro, we want to authenticate with the password they send over. If that doesn't work, cool. Otherwise, the username and the password were correct. that means we should make a token. So we're going to send it over in a signed JOT. So I'm going to take that payload. All I really care about right now is the user ID. So I can say user.id. Then I can take the secret, which we can get from rails.application.secretKeybase. And then I can use the JOT gem to encode that payload. So I can say the token is jot.encode, encode the payload with the secret, and then send that one on down. Status created. Cool. So I don't have the JOT gem. So I go over to my gem file, gem. Jute. Bundle install. And I'm done. So this is the way I've been showing you guys how to do this. You may have also picked up that if I have these nested ifs, logically I can combine those two. So instead of doing those as two separate steps, we could also do that and then make it a generic error like you get on every website. Wrong password, wrong username or password. Let's see what's it mad about. No user. Maybe it doesn't, is it just the word or? It's just the word or in Ruby. TIL. So we can also combine those and make it a little bit snappier that way. Cool. Backend's done. Questions about any of that? All right. So for this one, for the client side, let's make a separate login and login page and login script. So we can say login.html, login.js. For my login HTML, it's going to look a lot like my sign up page. So I can copy all of that over, change the script to login, change this to login, change that to login, change the sign up to login. And that HTML is pretty much the same. And that sort of makes sense given how we were testing on Postman, right? All we did was change the URL. So that means we can use a lot of that same JavaScript too. So if I take that, what was it? Was it signup.js? If I just take all the things that I did here and throw them in the login, I gotta change a couple things because now this is, that section's called login. This is gonna be login form and login message. And change the variables too. Login form, login message, login form. Otherwise, it ends up working very similarly. So on the submit for that, pull out the form data. I'm going to fetch to login, still a post request, still JSON. I send this over the exact same way. And then this stuff's all going to be different. And then that should kind of work the same way. I'm going to do something different with this in a sec, but I want to show you the happy path workflow first. All right, so I got my response back. Response has my token. So to start with, I can just show the token. Say something like response.token or your token is. So if we did everything correctly, we should be able to get the token to show up when we log in. One last thing, we got to make that accessible from the index page. So I can add another link to it. And now, if I go to the login, what did it do? Sign up message. It's not called sign up message anymore, Kyle. It's called login message. Yep. Somebody doesn't. Oh, is my server still down? Yeah. Hey, look. Looks an awful lot like a jot to me. So a couple other things we need to do still, but let's get this far. So all we did on this was change the names of a couple things, really, like that class name, that word, the label of that thing, and the name of the script. Then the gerbil script looked like this. Take a second to get caught up. I'm going to refill my water. Questions about any of the thing on the login side? Cool. So the thing that I want to change here, we do this all the time, right? We make a fetch request, we parse it, and move on with our lives. It's not the only thing that we can do there. And part of the problem is that if I enter in the wrong password, so do Kyler on that one. My token is undefined. That means it never made it to the catch block. It just kept on going. What the fuck, man? Anybody know what happened?
If it says your token is undefined?
Yeah, my token is undefined. I entered the wrong password. So why didn't it do the error stuff?
Is it because you have your login message there?
So what I wanted to happen was I send off all of my stuff, and if it doesn't match, it should do something like that, right? It should be like some kind of error, but it's not. Pissing me off. So you might think, and they might have fixed this, but I kind of doubt it, that we could just add a bad status code. And maybe that'll handle it. I don't think it'll make a difference though. If I do Kyler and Kyle, still token undefined. I got a bad response back. Look at that. See, even the console's mad at me. It knows that I fucked up. How come my little promise chain here doesn't know that I fucked up?
Is that where you need the try to start it?
You'd think that. Something kind of like that. The problem is, spoiler alert. So this is a bad status code. It was still a successful HTTP request. Nothing actually broke. Ooh. So here's how you fix that. Inside of this, okay, so I haven't actually changed anything yet. That's just the other syntax for what I had before. So that is exactly the same as that. I just opened up the function body and I'm like explicitly returning it. But now that I have this function body, I can do other stuff. And specifically, what I want to do is check to see if the response was okay. So I can do something like if not response.okay, throw an error. Like that. Otherwise, we all move on with our lives. You can even tighten up the syntax on that. You technically don't even need the braces. I'd say that's pretty common with these kinds of errors to just do that all in one line. You do need the parentheses. It's not like Ruby, but you can drop the braces.
So .ok is something you can use to...
.ok asserts that the status code was less than 400. Under the hood, it's literally like an if statement like that.
Okay.
As long as it's under that, it's considered to be okay.
I don't think I've ever seen throw before either. So that just tells it to just put it up there. Okay.
Throw says cause an error. Well, since I'm in a promise chain, that's going to send that right back over here to catch it.
Oh, okay. So it throws it to the catch. That makes sense.
Exactly. All right, now let's see what happens. All right, Kyler, try logging in. Bad username or password. That's what we want. Gerald, there's your error handling, man. Got it in for you.
Thank you.
Okay, now here's the new thing. Like other than this like error handling thing, this is still mostly stuff that we've done before in Mod 3. Here's a new piece of information. So the trick is I got my client coming back to the browser now. That's cool. As soon as I refresh, it's gone. As soon as I navigate to another page, it's gone. Womp womp. Here's a new cool thing. Local storage dot set item. This allows us to use kind of like a database, but in the browser. I'm going to set item token response.token. Like that. I can do the same redirect thing that I was doing with sign up also. Like that. Oh, I guess I'll keep that in there. So I'm going to set the token in local storage, and then I'm going to redirect. The things in local storage don't die on refreshes. They don't die when you navigate pages. They're like permanent variables. Mirame. So if I log in correctly, cool, redirected me. And if I do local storage dot get item token, I still got it, baby. And you can actually look at those whenever you want. That's what's in this storage tab on your DevTools. Go over to local storage, your domain. There's the token. That's what's in it. You can access that from anywhere. Pretty fucking cool. Questions?
Is there a security risk from having it viewable in the browser, the token?
No, like not really, because if it runs in the browser, it was never secure to begin with. Like a user can see anything that's running, it's their computer. It'd be a little rude if you were running stuff on a user's computer and they couldn't see what it was. And like, presumably they logged in. So all we have is their own stuff. Now, this is the thing when someone's like, don't save your password if this is a publicly shared, because you can look in and see anything that's on that computer if everybody's using the same one. So like there's a little bit of risk there. But the real security risk for us, the application developers, would be if they go, all right, cool, so that's my token. Well, how about I just copy and paste that? I go over to jwt.io. I pop that thing in there. It says my user ID is 1. Well, I don't want it to be 1. I want it to be Cass's ID. Cass's ID is 2. So I change that to 2. It gives me the new token. And so I get to go, no, that's my token now. That's why we sign these tokens. Because when I try to when I try to do anything with this token, the server's going to go, that signature doesn't match. You fuck with this. No. Pretty cool. All right, here's the real joy. Logging out. From a server standpoint, when we're doing this token-based stuff, the server doesn't know what logged in means. There's no concept that like, well, 10 people are logged in right now. All the server does is tell whether or not a token is okay or not. It can say it's too old. It can say that it was signed incorrectly. It can say whatever else it wants. But that's all it does, and it does it every single time. There's other like authentication strategies where you can absolutely say, I have 500 people logged in right now and I want to log every one of them out. Like that's called session-based storage. If you did the labs on like sessions and cookies, that's a different way to achieve the exact same thing. I think this is easier conceptually and like frankly more popular and works for things that aren't browsers, like native mobile apps and stuff. Cool. All right, one more thing I want to show you on the client. What if we could tell whether or not somebody was logged in? So we're going to make another message on the index page. You can do this if you want to. It's not important. All right, so I make another like message placeholder here. And over in that app.js, I can grab that. And say like, if local storage.get item token, if that exists, that means I'm logged in. Cool. Hey, what do you know? I'm logged in. If I delete the token, come on. There we go. And refresh this page. What? Still thinks I'm logged in. Fuck you. Why does it still have it? What in the heck in the world? It's not in a cookie. Cache should be disabled. All right, I'm gonna like, instead of just doing this to the dev tools, I'm gonna show you what logging out is, and maybe that fixes it. So I'm also gonna add a button in here, just called logout. And I'm gonna grab that. And add a click handler for it. So to log out, all we do is local storage dot remove item. And then we can, I don't know, refresh the page. So we were doing that with that. That's it. That's all logging out is throwing away your token. Now you can't send a token to the back end anymore, so you are logged out. There we go. I'm not logged in. I am logged in. Not logged in. Wrong password, username. Womp womp. I fixed it. I'm logged in. I refresh the page. I'm still logged in. That is everything for those first two steps. Questions?
You just need to remove the token, not the response dot token?
That doesn't exist anymore. That died as soon as that like function was done.
Oh, okay.
So let's see, that was here. So that, as soon as I hit this line, it's over. And certainly once I navigate to another page, everything that isn't in local storage disappears.
So then the next part would be like all the things that go on after somebody signs in is now associated with that person.
Yeah.
Is there, you have to say something like, if you're not logged in, you can't do any of this or something like?
So like, you could say something like, over here in my index.html, this was all about secret dogs. We could put this in a section called secret dogs. Okay, so we put that into the HTML. Now, if a user isn't logged in, we can hide that. We can rip it out of the DOM. We can just hide it with CSS. So I could do something like, that's secret dogs. Okay, so this means that I'm logged in. So if I'm not logged in, then I do secret dogs.style.display none. Something like that. So when I log out, those go away. You could do the same thing with links. You could do that at the very top of a page. So if I had like a secret dogs page, then whatever, then you don't add the link to get to that page. And if somebody just tries to type it in, it checks to see if you're logged in. If you're not logged in, it just redirects you back to the login page. We can also do something like, all right, well, if I'm logged in, then give me the dogs, man. So I would fetch localhost 3000/dogs. And here's the only other weird thing on the client side that you haven't done before. Over in the headers, this is a GET request too. You don't have to put this in, it's the default. But normally when we make those GET requests, we don't have to put in the headers. If it's a protected resource, we're adding an authorization header, which is going to be, wait for it, bearer, local storage, get item, token. And then when that comes back, parse it. And then this is your mod 3 code challenge. You iterate through each of the things, make DOM elements out of all of them, throw them in the DOM. If it doesn't, then you throw a message going like, you got to be logged in. Maybe if that fails, then you redirect them to the login page. But that's it. This is the only other thing that you haven't done client side. ask me some questions about it.
This is the one where for your then response, yada yada, like, you know, if someone's trying to access it that shouldn't be, you'd have to refactor that and throw in your try catch throw stuff.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Because yeah, if we reject it on the back end, it's still a successful HTTP request. It just has a bad status code. So we need to handle that. Cool. Let's stop there. We can do more stuff tomorrow if you guys want to, but hopefully it's starting to focus in a little bit how the client and the server work with each other on this.
Just a lot to sit with because you did a lot of new stuff that we like new JavaScript verbiage that we haven't used before.
Did I? Let's take a look at it. And
Or maybe not verbiage, but like the location dot replace and then
so yeah, let's take a look at everything new that happened.
when you
there.
returned the response.json, I wasn't quite wrapping my head around that.
So that's just error handling. That's bonus. I wouldn't worry too much about that. So we got this. Those two things are both new. All we know how to do with local storage is add item, get item, remove item. And they work just like variables. They just survive a refresh, and you can access them from anywhere. So that's new. We know how to redirect.
And they're stored in, and the local storage stores them in key value pairs.
Correct. We know how to redirect. That's new. No, that's new. This was the other new thing. So if I take this out, it's just the other syntax. Same syntax we're using on the very next function. The only thing we added in was we can check to see if the response is okay. Otherwise, it's all the same stuff, just regular, like most of this was your code challenge. Sign up. Same stuff. I did the destructuring in there. If that's like hurting your head, forget it. It'll be super handy in mod 4. It's worth practicing with, but it's not critical for getting Auth.
And that's just assigning something to two variables.
Yeah, so if I'm going to pull a property out of an object and then just save it into a variable that has the same name as the property I'm pulling out, I can destructure it instead. Like that.
Would that have to be password digest to work?
Yep, yes it would.
Okay.
Thank you. That's it. That's all the new client-side stuff. Add item, get item, remove item. Location.replace. Response.OK. Other questions? Cool. Sit with it, digest it. Most importantly, practice it. Try to get this under your fingers. Be fast with it. If you guys want to chat more about it tomorrow, let's do that. Elsewise, see y'all at stand down.
Kyle, real quick,
Yeah,
because I came in late, will you be able to get this up today?
sure.
That'd be great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kyle.